It's not just devices in cars that are tracking people's behavior.
A lot of devices that people are using, everyday devices like printers and computers and cell phones, are including some kind of tracking information.
Like that color laser printer you have at home or the office. Every page printed by most color laser printers is embedded with a code unique to that printer. Yep, your color laser printer could be spying on you. Seth Schoen is a privacy advocate with the Electronic Frontier Foundation. His work has led to the cracking of those codes.
My understanding is that this was motivated by a request from the United States Secret Service, which investigates counterfeit, and that they asked the manufacturers of color laser printers to do this, to add this tracking capability. And by and large, the manufacturers complied. Most of them didn't tell their customers that they were doing so.
The code, a series of yellow dots distributed across the back of the printed page, is not visible to the naked eye.
See the dots there. When you shine a blue light and look under the microscope, I think it's quite distinct.
It is.
So far, we've been able to crack the code that's used by Xerox and a few other manufacturers like Dell, so we can tell you what those mean. There are others like HP and Canon that are still a mystery to us.
In the case of Dell and Xerox, what is it then that these dots are communicating?
Well, they're communicating the serial number of the printer that made the print, and they're also communicating, in the case of Xerox printers, which have this information, the date and time that the print was made.
From there, it's not hard to find out who printed the document. And it's not just your printer. That digital camera you're so fond of?
This is a photograph of me that was taken as a staff photo. If we look at it with the right software, all of a sudden we see a lot more information. So here's the interesting thing. Right there is the unique serial number of my friend's camera. If he's registered for a warranty, then they know who he is.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's easy to find because he publishes his photos on a photo sharing website under his own name. And so you could immediately find out that that's his camera.
Burn any CDs lately?
Another one that the public is not really aware of. When you burn a CD in a CD burner, the CD burner's serial number is actually left on the CD. So if you make a mix CD for someone, or you burn any kind of information onto a CD and give it out to someone, it's potentially traceable back to your computer.
All of this may seem innocuous, but in time, it may not be.
I think people are perfectly happy to adopt a communications device that is in some way traceable or trackable, because they think, well, I don't have anything to hide, and I don't use it in a way that someone can track. And then lo and behold, technology advances. They sign up for all kinds of services. And they're using that technology in a way in which things are exposed and things are trackable that they hadn't anticipated.
Juan is out on the road right now, so I can see here, as of 3:40 p.m., he's in front of 893 Lafayette.
Here's the radio.
Howard Boyle, the president of this rather low-tech looking fire sprinkler installation company in Queens, New York, knows exactly where his employees are during the workday.
Okay.
Their cell phones, like many wireless devices, contain a GPS chip, which allows Boyle to use a software program called U-Locate that does just what its name implies.
He's doing 11 miles an hour. I could go and see where he is in transit. He's heading down that road, back to the shop. This is exactly where he is right now.
Right. Where has he been?
He was at a job site that I told him to go to, which was 866 Eastern Parkway. He was on that job site from 2:44 p.m. to 3:30. Okay, you're going to check the fire pump, right?
Boyle says he's never told his employees they're being tracked, but he suspects they know, since Boyle has an uncanny ability to know exactly where they are or where they've been. Boyle's software can tell him the minute-by-minute whereabouts of any employee for months back. Did you think about telling the guys?
If I thought it was a privacy issue, I might have. It's not a privacy issue. They're on the clock. They're being paid to be in places they're supposed to be. They have a route. This was just a simpler way of being able to know that they are basically doing what they're supposed to do and have the confidence that we're not cheating our customers.
Many other businesses that employ mobile workforces, be they Roto-Rooter or TV stations like WABC in New York, use technology to track their employees. Jim Joyce is the vice president of the National Association of Broadcast Employees and Technicians. He says when WABC installed GPS devices in news trucks, union members were rattled.
We were concerned about privacy issues and how this information might be used to monitor the employees in a Big Brother situation, that they would use the device to monitor and criticize routes that our ENG drivers took to get to stories, how long it took for them to get between assignments, the frequency and duration of personal breaks.
It isn't just at work. If your personal cell phone is on, even if it doesn't have a GPS chip, you can be tracked. Kevin Bankston is an attorney for the Electronic Frontier Foundation, a nonprofit that defends civil liberties from the encroachment of technology.
Many people don't realize that whenever your cell phone is on, the cell phone company is receiving information about your location, in many cases quite detailed information. Not only can they track you in real time using this information, they are also storing all of that information about where you have been when your cell phone is turned on, information that the government or even private litigants could get at.
You can, of course, turn your cell phone off, or even choose not to have one. But it is getting harder and harder to venture out in public without being watched.
Practically everything you do in public is being recorded somewhere or in some fashion. And the courts have long held that when you're in public, you don't have any expectation of privacy.
This is our back dining room, and we have 2 cameras at opposite corners. And I can pretty much see that most of the guests there look content.
Stephen Lafredo is the owner of Jovia, a high-end restaurant on Manhattan's Upper East Side. The 11 cameras placed strategically throughout Jovia let him constantly monitor his staff and customers, even when he's not there.
I have the same software loaded on my personal notebook computer, so I can pretty much watch what's going on here from anywhere. If I'm on vacation, if I'm away on business, I can really see what's happening in the restaurant.
Now, when you're looking at the screen, where are your eyes drawn typically?
I could see if a guest had to flag down a waiter or if they looked anxietous. I can also look in the lounge area, and I can tell how busy our maitre d's desk is getting by how people are coming into the restaurant.
The employees are aware they are being surveilled.
Somebody's got to prep the table beforehand. The delivery of this dish on 13 was like a disaster.
I'll never go to an employee and say, I saw you do this on camera, it wasn't the right thing to do. What we'll do is we'll talk in a general term with our staff and discuss with them ways that they can better improve the Jovia experience.
Stephen, what about customers? Do they know they're on camera?
It's become more common that there are cameras in restaurants. I think when they see the little black ball on the ceiling, they expect that there are cameras.
In the modern restaurant business, it isn't just cameras that are keeping track of customers.
Anybody who calls to make a reservation will start off with their first and last name and their phone number. If I double click on that, I can see information, how many times they've reserved, if they've canceled. I can see when they've joined us in the past or any other special comments that I want to put into the system.
So you're going to come back after this?
If I make a note that it's your birthday, or if they're a difficult guest perhaps,
Really?
and they had a
even
complaint.
put that note in there?
We might put a code like that in. You know, we could certainly put in codes that say that the person might be very selective about the type of table they get, or whether or not they want to sit in the front or the back room.
So the menu offers a lot of different variations.
While restaurants have only recently taken to surveillance,